So Katya Quintanilla is one of the Spanish-speaking settlement workers for refugee claimants at SOS at ISSofBC. She's been working with the SOS program since May of 2018 and has helped over 1,000 claimant clients during that time. She previously worked with the Umbrella Mobile Clinic, providing medical services to Spanish-speaking migrant agricultural workers in the Lower Mainland. She graduated from SFU with a master's in Latin American Studies in 2017. So welcome, Katya. It's perfect timing. I obviously have a frog in my throat. So I'll just mute myself and then Katya will take over.
As Bahar said, I'm one of the Spanish-speaking settlement workers at SOS, the program of ISSofBC. And let's just get this presentation started. I'm just going to share my screen. See, there we go. See, there we go. So I'm just going to be covering some topics today. First, introducing SOS, how to begin a refugee claim and the changes to the process now with COVID-19, how to apply for legal aid, some resources available to you during the claim process while you wait for your hearing, what to do if your claim is denied, and then what to do if your claim is accepted. So changes due to COVID-19, many IRCC offices have closed to the public and in-person appointments are limited. The Canadian government and immigrant services organizations like ISSofBC are changing their procedures to continue to support refugee claimants and people intending to do a refugee claim. And at SOS, we continue to provide support for our clients online, by phone, and as of earlier this month, we have begun some in-person appointments for clients facing multiple barriers. So what is SOS? We are the program within ISS that serves refugee claimants and protected persons to help them integrate into Canadian society. We have staff that can help you in 7 languages: Arabic, Dari, Farsi, French, Spanish, Somali, and Swahili, and English, of course. And we have a house search team that can help you find emergency shelter. And then once you're able to pay for it, for long-term housing, renting. And we also have a health case manager who can provide health support. And we now have 2 locations, one in Vancouver at the ISSBC Welcome Center, and one in Surrey. So what we do, a lot of what we do is orientation and guidance of people through the refugee claim process and as they try to integrate into Canadian society. So what we do ranges from assistance filling out government forms, support accessing healthcare and legal aid, orientation about the refugee claim process, cultural adjustment. When migrants or immigrants arrive in Canada, they may come with a completely different culture system that makes it a little bit difficult to integrate into Canadian society, so that we try and bridge that gap. We can provide housing support, employment and language training, and connections to local community services and resources. So a lot of what we do as well is referral for things that we can't do ourselves. We will refer you to an organization or a community partner that can help you with whatever you need. And then that's the settlement portion. The housing portion is our house search workers can help you with information of the rental market in Greater Vancouver, assistance finding rental based on your individual needs and your budget, connecting you with landlords and rental building managers, and helping you with BC housing applications. And then finally, our healthcare supports include supports for refugees and newcomers living with HIV, creation of wellness plans and information on healthy living, and also support for LGBTQ individuals. And so let's just dive into what the refugee claim process is. Anybody who is inside Canada and fears or faces danger in their home country for a variety of reasons can start a refugee claim as long as you're within inside of Canada. You can make your claim at a port of entry like the airport, border, or right now by email. Eventually, once your claim is processed, or sorry, your claim is being processed, you will have a hearing with the Immigration Refugee Board, and that will decide whether your claim is accepted or rejected. And if your claim is rejected, you can appeal this decision. And I think Lobat is going to be covering a little bit of that later on. So seeking legal help is very, very important for your refugee claim. You should contact a lawyer as soon as possible before making your claim, ideally, or if not, once you've begun your claim at any point in time, you can contact a lawyer. If you cannot afford to pay for a lawyer on your own, there is an organization called Legal Aid that can provide you with a free lawyer if your application is accepted. And again, you will eventually have a hearing with the Immigration Refugee Board. So at that point, it's highly suggested that you have legal representation. And again, if your claim is rejected, you can appeal this decision. If your claim is accepted, if you get a positive decision, then the next step would be to apply for permanent residence. And we will be covering that towards the end of my presentation. So how to apply for legal aid. Again, this is available for people who cannot afford to pay for their own lawyer. You can apply for legal aid through the phone. Right now, their offices are closed to in-person services. So the number right there are the two numbers for the Lower Mainland. They have interpreters in various languages. So, you know, a lot of the time when people call and they get, it's a message and the first message is in English, they kind of get overwhelmed and hang up. But if you just wait on the line, the message will go through a number of languages. So if this is your language, press 1, press 2, whatever. So just wait until your language comes up. And basically they decide on the case. It's a case-by-case basis. So it would depend on first your financial needs, if they determine that you are in financial need and cannot afford a lawyer on your own, and then the details of your case. So a lot of the times people just do not know that they should provide evidence to support their claim at this point. Again, legal aid would determine if you qualify for a lawyer based on the details of your case. So if you have evidence like photos, police reports, hospital records, messages, witness testimony, anything like that can help your application for legal aid. And again, a lot of people don't realize that this is necessary. So you know, they might get a negative decision for their application, but you can appeal this decision, and it has happened a lot. I've seen it a lot, that once clients provide the evidence, then they will get their application will be accepted even if it was rejected initially. So the refugee claim process, at the very beginning, you will have to fill out a basis of claim. This is a very important form, and this is the one that we suggest you have a lawyer to help you fill it out, because this is the form that explains to ISSofBC why you are, or sorry, to the Refugee Board, why you are seeking protection in Canada. So ideally, it should be filled out with your lawyer. You will also fill out 3 background information forms. These can be filled out by yourself, by your lawyer, or with help of an SOS worker. Oops, sorry. And eventually, right now, because of COVID, they're not scheduled in right away, but eventually you will have an eligibility hearing with ISSofBC. This is not your hearing with the Refugee Board. This is with ISSofBC, it's just an interview. And once you have had that interview, they will issue a document for you to get your immigration medical exam. Okay, so this is just a little bit of a graphic on the steps. So right now, you can email ISSofBC to apply for refugee status. I think most people are doing it this way as opposed to at a port of entry. And then again, the next step is to fill out the basis of claim and 3 initial forms. Right now, IRCC is only accepting documents via ePost, which is an online account that you can make through Canada Post. At any time, ideally during these 2 steps, you are applying for legal aid, so that you can, your lawyer can fill out the forms. And then once all of that has been done, once IRCC has received all the necessary forms, they will issue a document called the Acknowledgement of Claim. And that document basically says the Canadian government is aware that you're applying for refugee status, and before it had usually the time and date for your interview. Right now, IRCC will contact you by email once they have scheduled your interview in person. So right now, I think the easiest way, again, previous to COVID, you can go into IRCC office and start your refugee claim in person. But right now, outside of entry ports, the easiest way to apply is doing it by email. So that is the email address. And this is on their website. So I know it's a very long address, but this is on their website. If you just Google, you know, make a refugee claim in Canada, you will get the IRCC website, and that will be that email will be indicated there. So you don't need to say much at this point. You don't have to provide any evidence at this point. You just have to let IRCC know, I'm here in Canada. I want to start a refugee claim. So you can just say anything very generic, just, you know, dear immigration officer, my family and I want to apply for refugee status. Just very, very basic. And then IRCC will reply with an automated email to confirm that they got your message. And they will let you know at that point that IRCC is only accepting forms via ePost, and that you have to create an account online. They will actually send you the link via email. So Canada Post will get you an email. Make sure you check your spam folder. A lot of the times their emails, you know, go to your spam folder. So what you can do to prevent that is to add the connect at mdhs.epost.ca to your safe sender list, and that way it will always go to your inbox. And then you follow the instructions on the Canada Post website to complete your account. So just like signing up for any online account, basically. And then once IRCC receives your documents via ePost, they will issue some important documents. The first one would be the Acknowledgement of Claim. And then once you have your interview with IRCC, they will issue a refugee protection claimant document. This is the document that basically you use as government issued ID in Canada. It's your first and primary ID. And then either one of or both of these documents actually state that you have interim federal health coverage. So with either of these documents, you can seek medical attention. All hospitals would accept that document. Only a few clinics will accept either of those documents as proof of coverage. So SOS has actually created a list of clinics by city, because, you know, what you can do is just call and phone to see if they accept this coverage, but we have created a list to make things easier. And with either of these 2 documents, you can also apply for income assistance. So also known as welfare. So that's the government assistance available for individuals who can't work or who are waiting for their work permit. So that's just a picture of what your acknowledgement of claim would look like. Just it would give you an application number at the top, and your UCI is usually your unique client identifier is your IRCC number. And then it will state at the very bottom that you have IFH, and sometimes it will have a date time to come back to your interview, most likely not right now, and you will get the date later on. And then this is what your refugee protection document looks like, more or less. It's a little bit bigger, and it will have a photo on it. And this is just a close-up of your acknowledgement of claim document that says, you know, first, Canada acknowledges that you that we received your refugee claim on such and such date, and that you are eligible for healthcare coverage under the interim federal health program. And this is very important right now because, during a pandemic, I think having coverage, medical coverage, is very important. And then, those are the initial steps. So once IRCC has all your documents, once you have your refugee protection document, what next, right? So while you wait for your hearing, which, it used to take anywhere from 6 months to a year, year and a half to have a hearing with the IRB. Because of COVID, a lot of hearings got canceled or postponed, and so we can only assume that it's going to take longer than that. So while you wait for your hearing, you can open a bank account. You or your children can attend primary and secondary school for free. You can register for English classes at a number of organizations. You can get a job once you receive your work permit. A lot of people like to volunteer in the meantime. It's just if you like to volunteer. You can apply for income assistance. Again, a lot of people, while they wait for the work permit, they don't really have an option. They have to depend on income assistance. So if you cannot work, if you're a low income individual, or if you have a disability, you can apply for income assistance. And then, of course, you can apply for the medical service plan, which is the provincial health coverage here in BC. And any of these things SOS can assist you with. So contact us if you have any questions about how to do that. So very important that while you wait for your hearing, you're taking the time to prepare and inform yourself on what the process of the hearing itself will be like. So there's a wonderful organization called Kinbrace that has created a hearing preparation guide available in 11 languages. And it outlines the process, the resources, the importance of filling out the forms, legal supports available. And also they have a wonderful program called Ready Tours, where you can actually take, you would assist in person before COVID and, kind of like be at the place where you have your hearing, and they would show you the format. Right now they're being conducted online, and to register, you can just go to refugeeclaim.ca. So that address that appears there. And at that website, you can download the guide in, again, 11 languages and sign up for the Ready Tour. Or you can contact Sophia Underhill right now, who is the one that is scheduling the Refugee Ready Tours. Again, right now they're being conducted online, and actually there's a information session on the appeal division coming up on September 29th. So if you're interested in the Ready Tour program or would like to register for the information session on the appeal division, please contact Sophia Underhill. That is her main telephone line and her email. And, so, as part of us trying to adapt to this new crazy times of supporting clients online, we have established weekly information sessions or workshops on a variety of topics that are relevant to our clients. So we kind of rotate between languages. So right now, or we conduct the sessions in English, Arabic, Farsi, and Spanish. The Spanish sessions just concluded last month, and right now we are providing information sessions in Arabic. And we feature speakers from partner organizations that help refugee claimants with a variety of support. So our speakers, and this is just the ones that we have done so far, have covered topics on health and medical services, mental health support and counseling, nutrition of young children and babies. We've had a Ready Tour session. We've had neighborhood house speakers who have informed us about family and adult and senior programs. We've had a session on employment supports with Options Community Services, and Lovat actually did another one with legal services. So this is just an example of the topics that we have covered. So how do you sign up to get notified about this? So it's very easy. You can email any one of us at SOS or email that general line there. And if you go to the website, which I'm about to show you, there's actually an option to sign up online. So I'm just gonna that link. And this is the ISSofBC website, so issbc.org. To get to the SOS part, you would scroll down and click on Get Settled. And then you scroll down to the SOS link, and then you will see information on what we do, where we are, the activities that we do. And if you scroll down to the very, very, very bottom, you see the Contact Us link, and then the Sign Up Now link. So you just click on that, and you can sign up with your personal information, and then you agree to the terms. And yeah, and then that way you can sign up to receive text messages from us informing you about any of these workshops that we are organizing. And also sometimes we share just available programs, resources, anything on topics that affect our clients. And so, go to the previous slide. Yeah, so that is where you can sign up for our text messaging for our workshops. And then while we're on the website topic, I also want to highlight that as part of our effort to support claimants online, we have created a series of videos on different topics. So we've covered information on medical services plan, MSP, and the interim federal health program to help you understand better the different types of medical coverage that you can have as a refugee claimant. We've covered how to fill out and submit work permit applications, how to fill out a travel document application, and how to fill out videos for permanent residence fill out forms for permanent residence applications. And once again, you can go to issbc.org and go to Get Settled and SOS. And then scroll all the way down and you will see refugee resources. This is the videos that we have for applications. So refugee related application videos, you click on that and it'll show you the videos that we have created so far. So right now there's the travel document, the work permit videos, MSP and IFH, travel document, and the first four actually the videos on permanent residence applications. And speaking of that, how to apply for permanent residence. Once you've received a positive notice of decision from your hearing, the next step is to apply for permanent residence. It is a long process that can take up to 2 years. And this was before COVID that it was taking this long. So right now with COVID, we can only assume that all of these processes are taking longer than usual. In a PR application, you can include your partner or spouse, children, stepchildren, adopted children, as long as they are under the age of 22 and single, and dependent grandchildren. So pretty much any immediate dependents can be included in your PR application. And the process is you have to fill out 4 forms, and 2 of these forms you actually filled out at the beginning of your claim. So, it seems like a lot of information, but it's actually information that you already know yourself. It's nothing tricky. It's just your personal information and your background history. And again, you already filled out 2 of those claims, which are the longer ones at the beginning of your claim. So you can use those to as a reference to help you fill out the ones for the permanent residence. Or you can go to our videos, the video section, or contact one of us, settlement workers, to help you guide you through the permanent residence application process. And you have to make a payment. It's $550 for you and your spouse. And actually, it's 150, sorry, not 155, 150 for dependent children. And I didn't mention it here, but a wonderful resource available is the Vancity PR loan program. Vancity has a partnership with us. They support our clients from the very beginning, allowing them to apply for a bank account, apply for credit cards, and at the end, once you've gotten accepted, they have a wonderful loan program as long as you have, decent credit history and your notice of decision. You can apply for the loan. You would contact one of us and we would make the referral, and they would actually pay the entirety of your fees for the PR. Some people have like 7 children, and it's just a lot of money to pay up front. So Vancity can provide the loan, and then you have up to 2 years to pay it back. And again, if you need help with any of this, you can contact one of us or take a look at the SOS videos for the PR process. And finally, oh, I can't believe it, I'm actually in time. Finally, I just want to leave you with this screen. This is all of our settlement workers. So organized by language. This is for both Vancouver and Surrey. You can be seen, again, primarily right now, we're helping people online remotely. But if you are somebody who is facing multiple barriers and definitely needs to have an appointment with one of us, you can contact us directly. So we have 3 Spanish speakers. We have 3 Dari or Farsi speakers, and 1 French and 1 Arabic speaker settlement worker. So that is all of our names, all of our contact information. And again, if this is too much, I'm sure that some people who are on their phone might have an issue seeing this information. You can always just send us an email to the email that was on the contact us section of the website, and that's sos@issbc.org. So yeah, that concludes my part of the presentation with just 1 minute left. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm on time. It never happens.
Great, thank you, Katya. I've actually, everything you've been referring to, I've been quickly putting it into the chat box for everyone to access.
Good.
So if you were watching Katya's presentation and not the chat box, which that's how it should be, you may have not have noticed that was like typing stuff in. But if you go in there now into the chat box, it's in your bar at the very bottom, you'll see that I put links to everything that she was referring to, the IRCC email address and where you can find it on their website, legal aid she mentioned, and the phone number you would call to apply. There we go. So the ISSofBC Welcome Center address, the SOS website, everything's all on there.
And this whole presentation is going to be available on the BC Refugee Hub website, just because a lot of people are asking if we can email them the slides. You can access them at the BC Refugee Hub website.
So I'll be posting the video and the PowerPoint decks from today, along with all the links as well.
Perfect.
So everything will be there. So our first question is, can clients use IFH and MSP at the same time?
You can have both. So there's no reason why just because you have IFH you can't have or shouldn't have MSP. When you go and access medical services, you would present one or the other, right? Because both of them would cover for basic medical services. It would cover the entirety of the cost of the appointment. So you don't have to present both at the time of services. You can present one or the other. The reason why we highly suggest that you apply for MSP, and you can apply as long or as soon as you receive your work permit, is that all clinics in BC, right, the entirety of BC is registered to bill to MSP. So if you have your MSP card, you can go to any clinic in BC. However, if you only have IFH, a lot of clinics are not familiar with that type of coverage. It's not a very common coverage. Just think about how many refugee claimants there are and how many go to a clinic, so they might not know it, and they might want to charge you out of pocket and be like, okay, just get reimbursed by your insurance. IFH doesn't pay you back for money that you've spent on medical services, which is why SOS has curated a list of clinics that do accept IFH, because they are few and far between, unfortunately. And so rather than having you guys call each clinic in your area and be like, do you accept IFH? We've created a list for you. So you can just email any of us, contact us, and we can send you that list. So answer to the question, you can have both, but you would present one or other at time of receiving services.
As a follow-up to that, does the list include clinics in Victoria or the Vancouver Island?
No, actually it does not. There is a list on the IFH website of service providers, and it is actually ordered by city in all of BC, so you can get that that list online. It's different from the one that we have created because unfortunately it is rather outdated. So a lot of the providers that are there might not be accepting IFH anymore. So again, that list, you would have to call them and see if they are still accepting IFH. So unfortunately, no, we do not have a list for the island.
Okay, great. And someone just asked, how do we join the BC Refugee Hub e-newsletter? So I just put it in the chat box as well. You just go to bcrefugeehub.ca and then you scroll to the very bottom. There's a little box, you put in your email address. And then anytime I send updates or when I do post the PowerPoint deck and the video from this webinar, I'll send out an e-newsletter alert, and then you'll know it's posted. So yeah, so that's how you join the e-newsletter at the bottom there, and then that's where how I notify you if there's any new trainings or resources or anything like that. And I don't spam you. Like I usually only send it out bi-weekly or monthly, so it's not like every day. Okay, we have another question for you, Katya. Just wanted to clarify, the knowledge of claim is what claimants will often refer to as the pink paper?
It used to be pink. I don't know why they don't make it pink anymore. Yes, so it was known before as either the pink paper or the pink slip. And you know, it hasn't changed. The only thing that is different now is that it doesn't give you a time and date for your interview. So it's the same form, the same document, and you can use it for the same purposes of applying for income assistance and for receiving medical care.
Okay, great. Another question we have is, can you include the relatives under the PR application if they weren't here in the country with you during the claim?
Yes, definitely. So this is why we ask people, you know, to, especially if you have family abroad that you're including in your application, to start the process as soon as possible, because it does take a long time. And unfortunately, the way it works is that you know, you go through the whole process for you and your family members. IRCC will request for your family abroad things like medical exams, police clearance certificates, their biometrics, so their fingerprints, a variety of things that they will ask. And so it takes a while between, you know, when you submit the documents and when you hear next from IRCC, sometimes months in between letters. So yes, your family definitely can be included even if they're not here. However, they would join you basically at the very end of the PR process. So once you have your permanent resident status, then your family can join you here. And again, it was 2 years before COVID, so we can only assume that things are taking longer now. So contact us or take a look at the videos, you know, as soon as you can after getting your notice of decision.
Okay, so the other question is it $550 for each husband and wife, or is it per couple?
No, it's $550 each. So both, it's $550 for yourself and $550 for your spouse, so $1,100. And then for dependent children, even if they're over 18 years old, it's only $150 per child, per dependent child.
Okay, and then a follow-up to that is the Vancity loan interest-free for 2 years?
No, it's not, but I'm sorry, I'm not 100% sure about it, but it is a very low interest rate and it's very flexible. So, you know, some people opt to pay just like whatever minimum payment, so it does last up to 2 years. Some people like to pay it faster. Some people, you can ask for 3 months grace period before you can start making payments, and those 3 months are interest free. So yeah, for that, I'm sorry, I would have to refer you specifically to Vancity, but as far as I know, it's very flexible and low interest. It's actually a wonderful way to build credit history in Canada, right? Because later on you want to buy a car, buy a house. It's a good way to show that you are a responsible money borrower who can pay back a loan. So there's many benefits to it.
Yeah, it's a great partnership with Vancity, and kudos to Vancity for stepping up and providing that opportunity for anyone that needs it. One more follow-up question about applying for PR. So once the person has made the refugee claim, and they have their work permit, can they now apply for PR right away, or is it 1 year later, or when do they apply for PR? It's when they get the positive decision, correct?
Yes. You can apply as soon as you get your notice of decision. You don't have to wait at all.
And then we have a couple questions about English language and link. So obviously refugee claimants aren't eligible for link while they're in the claim process. So what do you suggest for English language classes?
So it's, link is language instruction for newcomers, and that's the English classes that are subsidized by the federal government, whereas most refugee claim programs or refugee claimant programs are funded by the province. So a lot of the times, some cities, for instance, their school district will have what's called continuing education classes, and part of that can be English training. Some of those are actually very wonderful because it's actually high school classes for people who are learning English. So at the end of the process, you actually get a high school diploma, and you can use that to apply for post-secondary programs, but it depends on the city that you live in. Right now, because of COVID, I can only assume that they are limiting the number of people in their classes, if they're having them at all. I know that some of them were doing online classes, but only for people who had been registered prior to COVID. But a lot of organizations, ISS included, Mosaic, I believe Success also have started things called conversation circles. So they're not classes per se, but they are a place where beginners or intermediate learners can get together online right now and practice their English. So it's a really good resource if your city does not have the continuing education English classes.
And just to follow up to that, Mosaic has two different ones. They have a beginner one for refugee claimants, and they have one that's a storytelling, like a table topics conversation. I have them both listed on the front page of the hub, or if you click the what's new section, it'll show in there, but all the information's there. And I believe both of them are like drop-in anytime. So if anyone would like to drop into that, you can refer clients to that. And then before COVID, I had compiled a list of English language conversation circles. So that's also on the hub. But you can kind of like go through the list and see if in your area, whoever was offering them in person and maybe has now switched to online. So that's one resource. We have another question about the children of refugee claimants. The person says, I know they can go to elementary and secondary school without a student visa, but how about post-secondary? Are they considered domestic or international students?
That depends. If your children have, or your refugee claim has been accepted and you have your positive notice of decision, at that point they would count as domestic students. And not only that, but they can actually apply for the student loan program, which is something that most countries don't have. The Canadian government will lend you the money to go to school, cover the cost of your education, and then once you graduate, you would pay that money back. Just like any loan. And then if you're still in the refugee claim process, you would unfortunately qualify as an international student, and the fees for that are very high. I think it's like 3 times the fees for a domestic student, and you wouldn't qualify for student loans at that point. And just on a note, even if you are accepted, before you become a permanent resident, you need to apply for a study permit. In order to apply for a study permit, you already need to have been accepted to a post-secondary institution. So you apply first for the program. Once you get accepted, then you apply for the study permit. And again, if it's a positive notice of decision, you would be considered a domestic student, but still need a study permit.
Okay, perfect. And then just to go back to the English language, because I had a few questions about that. Alexandra, actually from Mosaic, is at the webinar, and she just posted information for us on the chat, which I copied to all attendees. So it says folks can register by emailing refugee claimant at mosaicbc.org. Mosaic offers free one-to-one virtual English classes for refugee claimants, which is amazing. With with a skilled former LINC instructor. So that's pretty amazing.
That's great.
Yeah, so just email them if you want more information about that.
One more thing, Har, that I kind of forgot to mention is that if you, there's a lot of programs outside of just the continuing education programs that are put on by other organizations or by neighborhood houses. So the Neighbor House Association has a lot of offices in Vancouver, and they usually do have some kind of English classes. And also there's a wonderful program for moms. So, it's particularly hard for women who have small children to leave the house and go take English classes because they are the primary childcare. So there are classes available for moms, and some of them provide childcare. So again, if you're interested in that, you can contact any of us.